What's up, guys? Welcome to Issues Podcast. My name is Salman Ali, at Salman Ali NBA on Twitter. Here joined by Forrest Walker, at DoNots on Twitter, and Blue Sky.
Yeah, I'm not so worried about Twitter right now. Blue Sky, though, I'm a little worried about Blue Sky. So let's hang out on Blue Sky.
I'm on Blue Sky too, by the way, at Salman Ali NBA on Blue Sky.
That's right.
I guess we skeet there. We skeet there first, and then we copy and paste the skeet into a tweet form, and then we tweet that. That's what I've been doing.
I haven't even been touching Twitter lately. I just don't want to see all those ads
Probably
anymore.
healthy. It's probably healthy.
It's just that simple. I just got tired of the ads.
Yeah, the ads, for me, honestly, it was the fact that blue check marks would show up first in the comments of every...
That's the other one, yeah.
Yeah, like...
they're so annoying. It's not good.
I just like when merit-based, comment sections. I like that, right?
Yeah.
That's the only algorithm thing that I like that's been added to these to the internet in the past few, merit based how everything's ranked now. I like that actually. Mm-hmm. It kind of lets me know where the conversation's headed.
What about merit badges? Do you like merit badges?
In what sense?
You join the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts or what have you, and you show that you're good at whittling or making a fire. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I like those too. Sort of a breakdown of the format of the show because I missed so much time. We're not going to get to everything today, and we're not going to get into the nitty gritty of everything today. It just wouldn't be feasible. We're going to do a lot of broad talking about what happened in the months since I've been gone, and we're going to talk specifically about the two contract extensions I got done, and everything else is going to be really broad, general discussions, and then next week we'll probably get into more of that nitty gritty that we're more accustomed to here.
Sure. Well, you want to talk about the contract extensions? You want to hit it on first?
Let's do that. Let's start with Alperen first, because it feels like the easy.
I want to say right off the top.
Sure.
Weird timing on the extensions. It happened during the early part of the season. Did not expect that to happen. If they were gonna extend these guys, I thought it would be either before the season or after the season, or no, it was right. It was the first week of the season or something.
It happened on the deadline day of extensions.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I guess that's when they were gonna do it, but
right.
Yeah, we all Rockets fans all thought they weren't gonna do it because traditionally they don't do that. It's been as an unusual outcome historically for Houston.
Yeah, especially this front office tree. They just are more prone to maximizing opportunities for upside.
Yeah, they maintain flexibility, I think, is the phrase they use.
Right, yeah. I mean, which is really what they're trying to say is, we want to keep all options open to get a star, right? Whether that's trade or free agency. And in this case, it would have been free agency. But, the fact is the free agency market was kind of barren of stars. And, you could have traded for a star into that space, right? That was still an option that you could have kept open. But also, there's also a vibes element of this and, a value element of this, right? Starting with Şengün. They got a fantastic value on Şengün.
Incredible deal. Fantastic deal.
5 years, $185 million. 24 was the max he could have gotten. So he took a $40 million pay cut to stay in Houston. Theoretically, right? Because we don't know if a team would have offered him a max, but I think he was worth a max, right? I think he's a max caliber player. I think we're seeing that again this season. And I thought that was a fantastic value. You had to jump on that. And if you're going to extend Alperen, you're really here's the thing. I know the order may have been Jalen first and then Alperen second. I have a funny feeling that they just may have done it that way. They may have negotiated one deal before the other one, right? Because one deal was of priority, clearly, because they gave Şengün the 5-year deal and they gave Jalen the 3-year deal. Jalen is technically 1 or 2% more of the cap per year. It's really not much. They're basically making the same, and Şengün has the longer extension. Both have player options in year 5 and at the end of the deal. So Şengün gets a player option in year 5. Jalen gets a player option in year 3. Go ahead.
That's so funny. Looking at it, it's 33, 35, 37, 39 for Şengün, and then 33, 36, 36 for Green. So yeah, they're almost exactly the same number. Şengün's contract by the numbers is extremely slightly more per year, but it's negligible. It's less than $1 million.
Yeah, and with Şengün, it's like he should be getting a 25% max, right? Like he like in
Yeah.
terms of like what he is, he should be getting that. So that's a steal. And with Jalen, you could argue almost like he's probably getting a couple ticks more than he's probably is worth right now. I'm gonna make the case that Jalen had a fair value contract, and here's my reasoning. Yes, he's not worth it right now, but I think you do have to project forward with these extensions, with rookie extensions. I don't believe he's ever going to be worth a max, so that's taking that off the table, right? I don't think he's ever going to be undervalued on this contract, and I don't think what he's shown this season is what he's actually going to be. If you look at his development curve, it is like it does look like, the name bandied about all the time was Zach LaVine. I really do believe it is just going to be Zach LaVine, right? I do believe he's just going to be Zach LaVine or Bradley Beal. There's not too much of a difference between those two on the spectrum of players. Like, I have eliminated personally the Devin Booker outcome, right? In terms of this player archetype, I don't think that's a ceiling for him anymore. I think he's underperformed too much for that to be on the table. I think I'm more in the Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine type of player. That's kind of where if he works out, that's what he's going to be. His floor is lower than where it was when he entered the NBA. I think he's probably looking at like Jordan Clarkson as a floor. Perhaps maybe not even that. I mean, we can talk about that in a second. Jalen, again, 3-year, $106 million. I think this is the second overall pick. They definitely drafted this guy with the intention of him eventually becoming a max caliber player. So I think they even acknowledged by him signing this deal, this is kind of a disappointment, right? Like so far, Jalen's been a disappointment, right? And I guess we can talk about that now. He got like a 20% of the cap, right? 21% of the cap basically. And that's probably like when he hits his whatever his end outcome is going to be, that's probably what he's worth. But I think it's a little disappointing in the respect that you look at him right now, and I know he just had it. Of course, he was going to have this game, right? On the day that we talk about his contract extension, he had probably his best game of the season just tonight. But players like Jalen are going to have these up and down games when they're attempting as many shots as they are. The problem with Jalen has always been, and it still is, consistency, shooting consistency. He is not a good shooter yet, and is holding him back from so many outcomes. And he is not a good defender. I mean, he's getting better. He's getting closer to average, but he's not a good defender, and he's not a good passer, right? Again, getting closer to good in that passing arena, but still not there. Like, he's just not providing enough everywhere else to make up for the fact that he is not efficient enough.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that the efficiency is not there. And all right, to go back to his contract, this has been a contentious one. Everyone agreed the Şengün contract is a very team-friendly contract. The Green contract has been discussed a little bit differently, shall we say. I kind of agree with you that I think it's basically fair, because the way this contract works out for Houston is if Jalen Green is pretty good, but not like extremely good. Like, if he is sort of in that Zach LaVine-ish zone, then this is a perfectly good contract, and it's totally tradable. Even though it doesn't have a trade kicker, it's still totally tradable.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. Like, and people are like, well, is he actually gonna hit that like kind of narrow zone where he's not too good and not too bad? Kind of looks like yes. Yeah, like, he has so many physical gifts. It's incredible how many physical gifts he has. He's so fast. He's able to turn on a dime. He can get a step on anybody. But he doesn't have the efficiency. The three-point shooting is better, I think, but it's so spotty still. And he does have a touch of disease everyone Rockets have, which is can't finish at the rim disease. Disappointing to see all these guys messing up the rim.
But
none
he
more
shouldn't
so than Jalen Green. Yeah, he shouldn't have that. Yeah, when he does finish, he finishes spectacularly. That's the thing that's frustrating about Jalen Green, is that when he shows his level of talent and skill, it's so impressive that you wonder, why is it so inconsistent? So this game tonight, fantastic. If he can have his relatives in the building every night, whatever made him go off like this, let's try to replicate that. But I feel like we've been having this discussion for years.
Yeah,
This
we
is
have
like
these games with Jalen,
Yeah.
right? Like this is not this is not his career high, right? Like he has
No.
games like this every once in a while. Every like 10 games we'll have a game like this. The problem is
Yeah.
like the other 9, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if he can be schemed into it better or something. Like I do think that the offensive vision is puzzling sometimes with the Rockets. Perhaps like hiring a offensive coordinator of some skill could help them, but
yeah. Can I say this? It's not like he's not being given the opportunities, though, right? It's like he's honestly at this point being given too much opportunities, right? Like in terms of this is not a meritocracy, right? This is not like with Jalen, it is not a meritocracy. Everyone else seems to be operating fairly close to a meritocracy.
Well,
Jalen Green should not be starting right now. Let's be 100% clear.
Nah.
There are six players on the roster that are just better than him.
I mean,
when there are 5,
one springs to mind right away, and I think it's probably the same person we're both thinking.
Right? Like, is this Şengün?
Well, no, I mean, in terms of people who could be starting ahead of him.
Oh, okay. I mean, this is what I mean, though. Like when if you're like a 6-man caliber player on a given roster, but you're like starting, to me that's not really a big deal, right? Like because the 6-man on any team has a good case to start, and it's not really a big deal if the 6-man is starting, right?
Yeah.
They're probably gonna play around the same amount of minutes anyways. When the 7th man is doing it, it's a different thing. It's a different thing. I think he's the 7th man on this team because I think Tari and Amen are better than him.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, personally, I'd start Amen first because Amen is out of control lately, and I'd love to see him just being free to be the unpositional gazelle he truly is, starting from the very start of a game. But I don't know. I guess that's between Udoka and his players. But I basically agree.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Green is the most frustrating guy on the team because he just he just disappears for games at a time, and I can't like. Who else on the team even does that? Who will just disappear for like a game?
I mean, like I'm sure it happens, but it's hard to think of someone off the top of the dome that's as consistent. Like maybe Jabari is close,
Yeah.
but Jabari, like his highs, like he's still more consistent, and his highs make up for a little bit more. And I would say that Jabari just is providing more defensively than Jalen is. And
a quiet Jabari game is more helpful than a quiet Jalen game for sure.
Yeah, and you're always gonna feel him, right? When Jalen's not hitting his shots, you're not feeling him, and he's almost hurting you sometimes, which is why he's getting pulled from games late, right? Ime Udoka even thinks he's not one of the 5 best players.
Yeah.
Like sometimes coaches tell you what they're thinking, right?
I mean, he didn't even play in like the last game yesterday.
He had like 2 minutes in the fourth.
25 minutes. Yeah. I mean, it's at this point, Tari, Eason, and Amen Thompson feel like they should be starters. Like it's hard to deny. Like they're playing so well.
At least one of them,
to see,
right?
At least one of them, yeah.
Right.
The other one being like your 6-man, du jour, fine.
But
like it does seem hard to keep these guys off the starting lineup.
I'd probably give it a Tari. For shooting reads, I'd probably give it a Tari. And
then Amen can come in and just like be the focal point of a killer bench unit.
Right.
Yeah.
He could like play sub in for like Şengün.
For
right.
Anyone.
Whoever. Yeah. But like this also enables you to play Jabari at center. Right. Like it enables you to do some cool stuff. Right. If you do it that way. And you could play. You can also like have some more like the touches that Jalen wants in that starting unit but isn't getting, which I really don't think he should be complaining much given how much he's getting. But he can get that with the second unit, right? He's not going to lose anything with the second unit because they're so lacking in offense, the firepower. Like he's probably still going to get it, right? If he's probably subbing in for like Fred, right? And he's probably going to get those touches.
And he needs that kind of stuff. I mean, honestly, I feel like he needs to run the offense like more clearly. Yeah, I mean, this is like a problem that the Rockets have, which is a subset of their bigger issue that they just have too many guys. They just have so many guys. They have too many guys. And what do you do with all these guys? Which is a good problem. We said it many times before. And this year in particular, it's a great problem. They have too many guys, but they're 14-6 right now. They're 3rd in the West, and they're half a game behind first. So,
by the way,
it's papered over by that.
I haven't even given my controversial take on Jalen yet, which is that like it's I said that there are 6 better players on the roster than him. That was my conservative estimate. That was like if we're being real, if we're being 100% real, which I feel like I have been since I clicked record, right? Cam Whitmore's better than him, or at least he was better than him last year. He just was, right? Objectively, you felt him more every game, and he was shooting more efficiently than him. Jalen might be a better passer. He might be a little bit he might be less rigid than him, but like Cam is just such a powerful player, and like his body's like he's built better. So like you think theoretically he could defend better than Jalen, or like at least as good as Jalen, right? Like Cam's better than him. I mean, listen, I wouldn't personally give this guy more playing time, but if we're being honest, Aaron Holiday's played better than him on a minute per minute basis, right? I wouldn't give Aaron Holiday more minutes than Jalen Green. I wouldn't do that. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
But he's objectively on a minute per minute basis. You look at the numbers. He's probably one of the best 3-point shooters on the team. He's very
skill at a premium right now. They badly need 3-point shooting.
He is good defensively, right? Aaron Holiday is good defensively, and he's smart in a way that Jalen just isn't right now, right? And again, this is not me saying that going forward I'd rather have Aaron Holiday than Jalen Green. That's not what I'm saying. I'd clearly rather have Jalen Green. The upside is still worth betting on. But what I'm saying is if we're just saying on a merit basis, there's objectively like 6, 7, maybe even 8 guys that you could say are better than him, right? Like 6 if you say that original 6 that we were talking about, 7 if you include Cam, and 8 if you include Aaron, which I'm not going to, let's just say I'm not going to do that. But I feel pretty good saying Cam Whitmore right now is better than him, right? Cam's had a bad season so far, but that I don't care. I know what I saw last year, right?
December, January, and then like half of February, and I guess like half of November. So there's like about 3 months before the trade deadline, right? That is the timeline for Jalen Green to show why he is more useful to the team as a player than as a trade piece. Well, and if he can play like tonight, he can. Good, great. That's fantastic.
I'll just say this: he better have 3 more games like this consecutively. Otherwise, if I'm Ime, I'm pulling the plug and starting Tari Eason. Right? Like this game doesn't save him from where he was. Like he was in a precarious position, like these last 2 games. In that, there could have been a very credible case that Ime Udoka just started tonight's game, with Tari Eason or Amen Thompson. There could have been a very compelling case for that to happen right now. It didn't, and Jalen played well enough to stave it off for a little bit. But I mean, he's gonna need to have more of these games. Like honestly, this team is in a position where they're the 3rd seed in the Western Conference right now. Well, are they even? They're first in the cup, the NBA Cup, right?
They won their group,
right? Yeah. They won so they're in position to win the NBA Cup, right? Which listen, I want that thing to be valuable. Okay, it's not valuable right now because there's no history. No one gave a about the NBA champion in 1945, right? Nobody knows who that was until the 1960s. The NBA title didn't gain any notoriety, right? Like I just think like this will gain notoriety if you give it some time. Okay, sure. But that's super off topic tangent.
The team is in a great position.
Yes, the
way
team,
better than anyone predicted.
The team is in position to win, and Jalen is hindering that right now, right? Like I just don't think that you should be giving, like, what is he getting, like 15? Like he's 2nd or 3rd on the team in shot attempts per game. Like that's not He shouldn't have. He should be playing like 27 minutes a game, not 32 or whatever he's playing right now.
Well, we'll see how this resolves. We got a lot of season left, thankfully.
Am I being controversial? Am I being too hard? I don't
know. I don't honestly know what the consensus on Jalen Green is.
We're year 4, right? Like I've been very reserved about Jalen Green. I said that don't worry about year 3. Year 4 is when the leap happens. It's gotta happen now, man. It has to happen. Yeah. If it doesn't happen, as you said, they should explore trading him. If they can't explore trading him, they should at the very least bench him.
Well, we'll see. Honestly, it's good for him that the team is so good because it is like the overall heat level is lower for the team because of how well they're doing. So like they do have some room to like give him some more slack, to give him some more opportunities to prove himself. So
Can I ask you a question?
yeah, sure.
If you could turn back time and take away Jalen Green's extension and Alperen Şengün's extension, like that's the cost, right? You have to take back Şengün's extension as well. Would you do it?
No, the Schengen extension is too good
Too good?
to get rid of. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of end up with you, and I ask it that way because I think you kind of had to do both.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think the Jalen extension is like not that bad. It's like
No, it's not
you'd
that
like
bad.
it.
Yeah,
It's like fine. But the Şengün extension is really good.
Yeah.
So I think also these extensions hopefully have like downstream effects of getting other guys to want to sign long-term pretty team friendly deals when they come up. You know, if we see
Jabari,
like
right, next year.
Jabari and Tari, yeah, them signing like similar deals that are affordable and sustainable. Great, huge win immediately, and then we see what happens from there.
Yeah, you can credibly say no one's gotten the max yet to all these players.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. It's very. I mean, it's a good. All right, I'll talk about some general stuff, but while we still have some time to do it,
this is all general, baby. Like we're not getting any specifics today.
Team vibes, good. Team vibes, good. It's really impressive.
Right. This is all nitpicky stuff.
Yeah. These extensions and a lot of stuff this team is doing is really reminding me of like a 2000 Spurs-esque culture. It seems very stable right now. Everyone seems happy and locked in. People are taking relatively friendly deals. And by Spurs-esque, I mean it's stable and it's happy. Like, there's no upheaval happening. No one seems to be on the hot seat, really. Like, the team is trucking along and everyone's bought in a way that's really, really encouraging to see.
Can I make another comparison that might make you uncomfortable?
Sure.
Is it more like early 2010s Raptors?
I mean, yeah, maybe. That's not terrible to be, though. You lose to LeBron James.
Right.
But that's it.
Yeah. Because I make that comparison because it's like, yeah, the Spurs, at the end of the day, we knew, like, they had the big fella, right? Like, right now...
Yeah, they had their guy.
Right. I think we think Şengün can be that guy, but the franchise hasn't really, like... You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's still, like, even the contract is still not a firm committal, right?
Yeah, if they picked up, like, if they'd happened to draw Wembanyama, it would be, like, more like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say this, like, there's also always this worry with Şengün. Like, I see it, right? There's a contingent of, like, almost like Şengün stands, right? Which, it feels weird for me to say that. Of all people, it feels weird for me to call someone a Şengün stan. But there are Şengün stans that, like, get offended at every little slight, that perceived slight. I say that now because I feel like they are perceived slights. They're not real.
Yeah, he's the guy in overtime. When it is crunch time, they go to Alpi and let him do what he's going to do.
With Rudy Gobert on him.
With tonight as well, like, he is the center of the offense right now, which is even more than last season. Even more than last season, Alperen Şengün is the center of the team. They are giving him that opportunity, full stop. He's had like four triple doubles this season so far, I think.
Yeah. No. The moment he inked that deal, the stress about this organization not valuing Şengün kind of melted away for me.
Yeah. And then they know he's their best player at the moment.
Right. Yeah.
Will that change? Could be. I mean, there's guys like Amen who could surpass him. And if so, that'd be incredible. Well, it's not a slight to Şengün at all.
No, let's talk about Amen. It's a compliment to Amen. Amen is, like, I talked about this
grown man, Salman, a grown man.
I talked about Amen this summer on a podcast. I think it was an NBA podcast. Yeah. It wasn't. It was a general NBA podcast, and I was like, yeah, this guy could be like all defensive player, like in like I'm talking like next season, maybe even the season after. Like, that's how good he was his rookie year, right? It was such a surprise to me, and like it was so obvious to me, like, how talented he was defensively. I'm so happy he's getting the national praise that he's getting. Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
everyone notices him, and
yeah,
how can you not? You see him come out on the court, and he is relentless on defense. Like putting aside his offense, which we can touch on as well, which is not a slouch by any means. He is good. He's great on offense too, but his defense is incredible to watch. He is vicious out there. Every time, every dribble, every pass, he's like, I could probably get my hands on that. Like he blows up every play action he can possibly blow up. And then he manages to recover. Like a lot of guys go for these kind of like high upside plays where they try to get steals and try to deflect passes.
that's not
But
what he
then and
does. Yeah,
no, like he just sees the lines and gets himself in there constantly. He's not putting himself out of position to try to go for like a Hail Mary play on defense.
he's
He
just
is just a
smart and
genius.
uber athletic. Yeah, yeah,
He's so fast. He's
yeah,
so fast.
yeah.
Him like when he is coming up behind you on the break, that's terrifying. I mean, we've seen plays where he just like blows past people in the open court. It's incredible. He is so talented and so smart at this. Like it is not possible to give him too much praise, especially on defensive end where he is a prodigy. And if he's not on like third all defensive team or whatever, like he has
There's
earned,
only two.
yeah,
There's only two.
he better be on one of them still. I don't like he's that good. I'm sorry. I like they have the Terror twins with him and Tari, which is cool. And Tari also love Tari, fantastic. Amen is like he's
I'm man.
another thing. Tari's great, and Ahmed's something else.
No, Amen is one of the two best young players on the team, right? Like I did a prospect ranking this summer. It was like Amen 1. I mean, it was Şengün 1, Amen 2. And honestly, I put them in the same tier because I'm like, these guys are like the same caliber of prospect to me, right? Like Şengün is just that unbelievable offensively. Amen was just that unbelievable defensively. And they both had shades,
Yeah,
right? Right? Like,
yeah, they're both coming together on that.
right, yeah. Like Şengün this year is legitimately good defensively.
He's a
Right.
plus defender this year. It's so
He is
impressive.
good. He is good, right? Like it's not like he's not like a non-liability this year. He's a good.
Yeah.
He is a positive. He's getting 3 steals and 3 blocks some nights, right? Which is like what, right? Like
Yeah.
this is
He's being used. They have a good scheme that's playing to his talents, and he is able to play into it successfully night after night. That's so impressive. Yeah, and Amen, his shot is looking better. His offense is looking better. He is out there crashing the glass as well. Like the whole team does this. It's look whatever is going on there. It is catching. Like I think we have to credit Dylan Brooks to some of this. Dylan Brooks's attitude has merged with the team's attitude in like the most healthy possible way. Because it seems like they've learned his just like really mean like happy style. But now instead of him being like it's Dylan Brooks time every night, he's playing within the team in a way which is really really good to see. Like he's so much better this year than last year. I was really worried, but like he looks legitimately one of the better players in the team, and the culture is fantastic. The team is hard nosed. They never give up on anything. Their defense is top 2 or 3 defense, depending on who you ask, which is ridiculous because they're still growing. They're still young and getting better. This is a special team. This is a very good vibes team. I understand why they don't want to make moves until they have to make moves. They want to cultivate this as much as they can because like this is house money. They're playing with house money and they're winning. So let it roll. Just let it roll until you can't.
and they bought themselves some time this year, right? With the extensions, right? So you don't have to make a move on Jalen or
No.
Şengün this year. Well, I mean, they weren't going to make a move with Şengün this year, but like you know what I mean, right? Like they don't have to.
The can is in next summer. Like
Right.
unless they find some deals that are just like really blowing them out of the wall, like just blowing them away, just like deals they can't say no to. Unless you're getting Godfather deals here, they're just gonna let it ride. It's like they're just gonna go through the season because this is great. This is so much like their over-under was what, like 43.5?
Mhm.
And now they've already won 14 games in the first quarter of the season. Sure, like there's no notes. Keep growing. Keep doing what you're doing. And
Yeah.
like the nationwide discourse is A, very positive. B, people are like, well, are they contender? It doesn't matter. That's the thing. This is like the most fun year that's ever going to be with this team because they don't need to be a contender. It doesn't matter if they're a contender. This isn't the year for that. So however good they are, if they stay in the top 4 teams in the West, but long way off. Many things can happen. There's no guarantee it's going to happen. But if they keep rolling at this speed, if they keep beating teams, if they keep these metrics up, they're so fun to watch. They're going to win a whole lot of games. They're going to make the playoffs. Hell, they might even winning a playoff series this season would be like an incredible outcome. Fantastic outcome. There's no need to worry about contention. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about anything. Just enjoy this team, see how they're growing, watch them do it. And I don't know, if you're a Rockets fan, root for them to win by 15 every night.
Yeah, I had them at 45 wins this year, right? They're gonna win.
I had them at like 44. Yeah,
they're gonna win. I mean, at least 48. Like that's what they look like right now.
Yeah, they look like a 50+ win team easy. Like if it weren't for our priors being pegged by last season, like if we just stepped into the NBA this year through like a time machine, right? And we just came in right now, you'd be like, yeah, obviously this is a really good team. Like clearly they're going to win like 53, 55 games or something and be a top and be like a home court in the first round team. What are we talking about here? It's just because we know that they're young and inexperienced and they were not as good, and they were bad 2 years ago and only 500 last year, that we're not just obviously this is like one of the top 3 teams in the West.
Yeah, those 2 signings, by the way, Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks, have worked out splendidly.
Exactly as hoped. Yeah,
they're going to pick up VanVleet's option. I suspect they're going to pick him up next year. Dillon Brooks, I wrote this at the time. I thought people were on that contract extension when I was like, this is fine. Compared to the other starting small forwards in the NBA, this is right in line with them, right? And people were like, I wrote that article. People were crapping in the article, right? The very notion that this was a fine contract. I didn't even say it was great. Right now, it looks damn good, right? It looks like a genuinely positive asset, right? That you can move and get something out of if you want to.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing, is that he's good now, and that's $20 million a year is for a starter. That's fine. It's like normal starter pay. And so with him showing out better this year, that contract, everyone thought that was going to be an albatross contract. And right now that contract looks like that's a positive asset you could package together with somebody to make a big deal.
He's playing like a $25 million, right?
Yeah, exactly. People will pick him up. He will add value to any kind of a trade package you put out there at this point. Like now, if they find a guy if there is some player who becomes available who is, a high caliber player, and
like Giannis, you can throw him in.
You can throw him in there. You can be like, this will, we can swap Giannis in for him or whatever. He is a valid part of this. So you can make that switch with him. You can use him as a valuable trade asset, even as he is currently on the team, a positive gameplay and team culture asset. It didn't seem like it was going to be that good last year. Last year it seemed fine, and now it seems like a legitimately very good signing.
Right, because what happened is the Bucks will trade for Brooks as part of the deal, but obviously they're not going to keep Brooks, so they'll be able to flip him again.
Yeah,
exactly. And get the more first round picks if they want, right? Or the Rockets, before they make the trade, can trade Brooks, get the picks, and then trade for
it becomes a 3-team deal. And he goes somewhere that needs him, but it's a positive contract and a positive impact player.
Right. It's very much in the Trevor Ariza mode now, contract, right? But so before the season, right, we said that they were going to make the play-in tournament for sure probably this year, right? We were kind of in the, okay, this is a legitimate play-in team this year. Are we confident this is going to be a playoff team? I don't feel confident saying they're a home court team right now, but I feel confident. I feel confident saying, they're going to be a top 6.
Top 6.
Yeah.
Let's see who's in there right now. I think you're probably right, but I want to take a real quick look at the standings right now. Okay, so we have the Thunder and the Warriors ahead of them, half game ahead of them each. Which, Thunder obvious number 1 seed. Warriors less so, but really good.
Yeah.
Then the Rockets 3, then the Grizzlies, Clippers, and Suns. Right, Grizzlies after a nasty start looking real good. Clippers after a nasty start looking real good. Suns,
and they're gonna get Kawhi back. Yeah.
And then after that, you have the Lakers, Mavs, Nuggets, and Spurs. So the question is, do we think that the Rockets will be passed up by 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 7 teams from then on? That's the question you're asking. Will they be passed up by 4 of the 7 teams behind them?
I think they'll. I don't think the Suns are gonna pass them up. I think it's possible the Grizzlies will pass them up. I think it's possible the Clippers will pass them up. The Nuggets are kind of a, I don't. It's really
It's a hard to predict team. It's
Yeah,
a really
it-
hard to predict team.
yeah. It's Jamal Murray needs to get it together. They need to scrap together a bench, right? Like they got a lot of things going on over there.
The
But
Mavs could pass them up. I don't
can
think they're
they?
going to, but they could.
Okay, maybe. I mean, the Mavs. The thing with the Mavs is they always enter the postseason as like a bottom 14, right? Like they haven't really been like a etched
Yeah.
in stone top 3 team going into any postseason that I remember. So I kind of feel like that's going to be the case again this year. They're going to be a playing team. They're going to make the playoffs, but they're not going to be like a top 5 seed.
The hard part for the Grizzlies and the Mavs is that the Rockets are currently beating everyone up in the division. They have a 4-1 division record already. It's gonna that's really important for tiebreakers. So that means I'll have to pass up Houston. Spurs are technically Spurs are in the play-in, but I am not worried about the Spurs passing up the Rockets. Lakers, I'm also similarly not worried. So yeah, I say
they're a 6 seed.
I think they're a top 6 seed.
Yeah.
It would surprise. At this point, it would kind of surprise me if they fell out of the top 6. It wouldn't surprise me if they're down to 5 or 6, but it would surprise me if they fell out of the top 6.
It would require a massive losing streak on their part, which I guess theoretically could happen, but
it can happen.
The numbers look real, right? Like the numbers underneath the hood look real, right? Like this is like a very good defensive team.
The numbers are good,
right? Like
the offense, as troubled as it is
better than last year.
Is better than last year. They're like a top 12 offense, like slowly inching toward 10. Which sure, I guess, even though they miss, even though they're like a bottom 2 in finishing at the rim as a team, they're still like
Fred VanVleet and Şengün is like the pick and roll. That's their only half court offense, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think the team is real. It's a quarter of the season in. We have 20 games, which is enough games to like make some actual judgments. They have like their point differential is 8.5 a game. You know, all their like net rating, all their advanced net ratings are similarly impressive. I don't know. It's hard. Like, it's a big. If it's a mirage, it's a damn big mirage.
Let's hope it's real. Let's hope it's real. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the show, guys. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. Follow the show on YouTube, on Blue Sky, on Twitter, wherever the hell you follow the show on. Make sure to engage with us on social media or respond. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys down the road.
See ya.